Good morning, or good afternoon, actually.
Good afternoon.
We'll rewind that. So that sounded great, guys.
Thank you.
And I know that both of those songs aren't actually on the album,
Right.
so thank you. I hope you, I don't know if when you were writing it and performing it, if you had it in mind to debut it to the world inside a classroom, I don't know.
We did.
That was the plan all along?
All of our music's pretty educational, so
Yeah, really.
everything has led up to this moment.
Yeah. Cross it off the bucket list,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Just tell me a little bit. I mean, you guys have been on the road pretty regularly, and you're going to continue to do it. How many of these new songs, I want to say new, but they probably lived with you a long time, are you debuting on the road? Because the album's been out a while. So.
Yeah, pretty much all of them. I mean, you know, we hash stuff out in the studio, and obviously these songs are a very different animal with a live band and with drums and with everybody plugged in. But they all kind of start this way. And both of these songs actually started as concepts that were worked out on the road with an acoustic guitar. So it's kind of fitting that we're playing them that way now, even though we wouldn't normally play them that way in our live set. We like to be able to have our songs be interpreted in as many different ways as possible and be flexible about that. But I'd say that everything that we're playing now is kind of, we usually introduce our new material that way on the road and at live shows because it makes more sense doing that, and it doesn't seem to really come across the same way when it's just us in a room. We kind of need to get an audience's impression to see how people respond to something, you know?
Right. Well, I thought those two songs sounded great. Cool. Contrary, you have like, you know, a dork holding a camera as opposed to an audience where it's like you could really gauge how it's going.
That's what we would hope that most of our audience would be. So.
Just one guy with a camera?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Really absorbing.
Yeah.
Living the dream.
Yeah, I want to take it all in.
Yeah.
Taking it all in, you guys as well. You know, the spring and the summer months are usually key festival, you know, circuit months. Are you guys jumping on any?
We're going to try to do as much as we can that's appropriate for us. We are not super crazy about some of the bigger festivals, just because of the chaos and playgrounds that those places become. So we'll try to avoid them if we can, but it kind of, time will tell. Right,
and it kind of goes with the territory. You almost have to, right?
Yeah, you got to do a certain amount of that.
So, I mean, talk to me a little bit about, you know, what we can expect from you guys. I'm assuming you're in the studio, you're going into the studio for the second album?
We're constantly back and forth in the studio depending on when touring permits. And I mean, we actually haven't been that active of a band for very long. We've all been together for just a couple of years as a band, and we haven't toured as much as we should have or as much as we'd like to, so we're starting to embark on that stuff more and more now. And because we kind of got involved with making music more and more now together as well, we're kind of trying to juggle it all. So we'll be hopefully putting some music out soon, but we'll also actively be staying out on the road too as the seasons change.
And also like trying to figure out what's the best way to put out music these days with kind of the changing paradigm, you know, whether like albums even still.
Yeah, I mean, listen, EPs seem to be the, you know, the new, I don't want to say the new thing because EPs have been around forever, but like.
EPs were the old thing.
Yeah, I mean, it almost seems like it is like going back to how it used to be. Like, all right, here's a sample before like the main thing.
Or even just the idea that it just giving all the songs a little bit more just public space rather than, you know, having album tracks that kind of get buried and no one really pays attention to, because we really try to put you know, everything into every song and kind of feel like they all need to get their day.
It's all collaborative with you guys, except the drummer because he's not here. I can say that.
Well, it is, I mean, in that sense, it is collaborative. But we're pretty open. Nothing's kind of taboo or off base that somebody can't criticize. We try to. I mean, a big thing in this band is trying to put our young egos aside and get into stuff and be able to listen to stuff subjectively. And I think, you know, like what Freddie just said about wanting every song to have its day. I'm sure everybody feels that way and feels like they put all the time and energy into every song, and we're no exception to that. We're just trying to circumnavigate the new globe of music and figure out the best way for everything not to be left as a soundbite, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty collaborative. It usually starts with me, and I'll write something, and then we'll all work on it together and hash that out, and it becomes a completely different thing by the end of it. So.
But I mean, there's themes within all of the songs that you guys. I mean, you're very socially conscious, or whatever you want to call it.
Lyrically, it's not necessarily collaborative. I do most of or all of the lyric writing, and but we're all very open about what we were trying to talk about. I think and I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing or not, but we kind of believe in writing things that have a purpose and have a point to them. And some bands don't, and I think there's massive amounts of freedom with that too, writing lyrics that just come out of whatever, and being more free with that. Sometimes I envy that, but we try to, lots of times I'll come up with a theme of something like we're going to write about gun control, or we're going to write about religion, or we're going to write about this, and that's what I build it around, you know? Like we have a new song that we're working on, and the only lyrics really written for it is "I'll take the lion's share," and it's basically just talking from the point of view of a greedy Wall Street banker, and that's it. Or you know, just the idea that a dog, if you put enough food in front of it, it will never stop eating until you take it away. So. Like we'll come up with themes, and then we'll build around those themes, and it's important for us to have a sort of pointed idea of what that is to follow through with, to a certain extent.
You're a band with substance. How dare you guys do that?
Yeah, we try. but I mean,
has Kesha not taught you guys enough
to relax and just get on the floor and dance? Yeah, we missed the memo on that.
She also drinks her own urine, I've heard.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you know what? That is green to do that, to recycle that.
See? That's what she was probably going for.
Yeah, so good for her.
Good luck, guys. Thanks.
Thanks.